Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I hope that you are all good. In today's video we're going to be doing a set of bonfire night inspired nails, and I'm also going to be showing you guys how I get crystal clear encapsulation with acrylic. So I really hope you all enjoy watching. Now I have already applied my tips, filed them into shape and popped down a thin layer of clear acrylic. So we're jumping straight in with the design today, and I'm going to be using the Diamond Nail Supplies acrylic system, and I'm going to be using this gorgeous core color of theirs to begin with. So this beautiful color is like a peachy nude shade, but it's got a really pretty subtle sparkle in there. So I'm going to apply this down at the nail bed area on all of the nails and kind of just fade it down towards the tip of the nail. As you see, we're going to be doing a glitter fade on the tip of the nail, so I'm not worrying about this color fully covering the tip of the nail. I just want to get a nice neat cuticle area and get the nail bed covered, and then I'm just gently fading it out. I don't really want there to be too much product at the tip of the nail because we've already got our clear base down. Then we're going to apply our glitters and encapsulate, and these are quite medium length nails, so again we don't want to build up too much thickness. So as you can see, I'm picking up my bead of acrylic. I like to place it down just away from the cuticle area. Kind of here I've applied it a little bit too far away, so I'm having to push it up towards that cuticle area a little bit more than I'd like to. But I work a little bit different sometimes on my Glamerliz than what I would on myself, because the cuticle areas on my Glamerliz have seen better days. I really desperately need to get myself a new practice hand, so I don't tend to focus too much on getting a neat cuticle area because the cuticle area just isn't that neat on it anymore. But then as you can see, once I've placed down the first bead of acrylic, if I want to place down a little bit more, I do come in, but like I said, I'm not stressing about covering the tip of the nail. So as you'll see, I'm pick up a small to medium sized bead, push it up into that cuticle area. I'm tilting the finger downwards so that it doesn't run back and flood the cuticle area. Then I'm just taking that bead from side to side and pulling it down towards the tip of the nail, leaving the bulk of it where I apply it. To be honest, I'm building up a little bit of the cuticle and apex area here because it is a core strength powder, so it doesn't necessarily need to be encapsulated. So I'm trying to make sure that I'm building up the cuticle area with this bead, so then when it does come to encapsulating, I won't have to take my clear acrylic all the way down to the cuticle area. This is kind of personal preference. You could just pop this down thinner and then fully encapsulate the nails if you preferred. And then once I have got all of the core color down for those nail beds, we're going to come in and apply our glitters. So I'm going to be using the Clarity Clear Acrylic Powder from Diamond Nail Supplies, and this is my absolute favorite clear acrylic. We will talk a little bit more about it further along. And then for my nail art, I'm going to be using two glitters from Charlie's Nail Art. So I have this glitter dot mix, and then I've also got these long iridescent stars. Both of these are from Charlie's. I will leave a link to her website in the description box below. And I do also have a discount code that will get you 10% off her site as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up a small wet bead of clear acrylic and I'm dipping that into my raw glitter. And then what I tend to do is just swirl those glitters around into the acrylic mix just to make sure they all get a little bit of acrylic on them. And then I'm going to keep my brush nice and wet, and then I'm going to nudge and move those glitter pieces around until I'm happy with how they're placed. If I feel as though they're sticking to my brush a little bit too much, you'll see that I dip into my Monomer just to get my brush a little bit wetter, and then I'm able to nudge them around. Here and there you will also see that I might take a certain dot off and place a different one on. This is just because I don't always want two colors lying on top of each other, or if I feel like there's too many pink dots near each other, I might take a couple off and then just place down one or two of a different color, just so it looks a little bit more appealing to the eye. Same again here. As you can see, my brush is full of Monomer so that I'm able to really easily move those glitter pieces around. If you work with a too dry bead of acrylic, what will happen is those glitter pieces will start setting really quickly and you won't necessarily be able to move them around to create a nice placement and fade. I wanted them to fade back slightly, and with these multi-cut size glitter dots, it's really easy to create a glitter fade because you've got the smaller ones and the medium ones that you can nudge down just to create that more faded effect. You also want to make sure that you've not got too many dots laying on top of each other, because then you're not really going to be seeing them very well, and you're also going to end up with quite a bulky nail. So again, you might see me here and there removing a couple of dots. This is just if they're not necessarily needed to be there, like if I've picked up too many. Again, here, just making sure that I really swell those glitters into the clear acrylic. That way you're going to make sure that they all get stuck down in place and don't move around when it comes to encapsulating. And you can really see here how wet my brush is. So I only pick up a teeny tiny bead of clear acrylic and it is quite wet. Then keeping my brush quite wet, it just makes it effortless to move any kind of chunky glitter or any chunky nail sequin around into place. I always have a few dots here down on my kitchen paper towel here, so that if there is a certain size or certain color I want to pick up, I can easily just pick up one dot without having to go back into that full pot of glitter and pick up too many. Then once I have placed down all of those glitter dots, I will give them a few seconds to set in place, just so that they're not going to move around, and then we will come in and add our stars. Now when it comes to applying the stars, I don't want to add anywhere near as many as what I've added with the glitter dots. I just want to have, I think, 1 or 2 on each of the nails, just to add a little something extra to the nail. So what I will do is I'll pop down a thin wash of clear acrylic and then pick up my stars and place them down. Now I wanted to talk a little bit about the design. So I had a request on my channel to do a bonfire night set of nails. Now to me, bonfire night is mainly about fireworks. Obviously there's lots of history and traditions around bonfire night, but for me it's mainly about the fireworks. Looking through my kit, I just couldn't think of a design to do for bonfire night, so that's why I come up with this design. So I kind of thought, although these can be worn for any set, any time of year, you know, they're not bonfire night complete, if that makes sense. But to me, the reason I went for this design was I felt as though the glitter dot fades kind of look like fireworks lighting up the sky, and then you've got the stars there, because lots of the time when it's dark you're going to have stars in the sky, so we had to pop down some stars. And then once I have finished applying the glitters and encapsulated over the top, I come in with a little bit of stamping to try and replicate the fireworks again. So let me know what you guys thought of the design. I was just at a complete loss for what to do for a bonfire design, but my lovely subscriber and friend Heather suggested bonfire nails, so I really wanted to give it a go. So this is what the nails look like once we have got all of our glitters set in place, and then I'm going to leave these to set, and we're now going to come in and encapsulate. So as I said at the start of the video, I wanted to talk about how to get crystal clear encapsulation. So there's a few things. For me, you have to have a good quality clear acrylic powder. I would highly recommend Clarity from Diamond Nail Supplies, which is what I'm using here, or the CJP crystal, I think it's called crystal glass or something similar to that. I will have to double check, but the CJP clear acrylic I do find lovely and clear as well. But this particular one has been my favorite for a long time now. It's such a beautiful clear acrylic to work with. It's very, very easy to work with, and it just gives off, the name suits it basically, it gives off beautiful clarity. It's absolutely beautiful over glitters. Now when it comes to encapsulating and getting a good clear finish, one thing I will say is make sure you burp your brush to get any bubbles out of your brush. So you'll see when I place my brush down into my monomer, I press it firmly down to the bottom of my dish. This is going to release any bubbles in the monomer that you've picked up. If you've got bubbles in your monomer, you're going to end up with bubbles in your powder. So make sure you burp your brush to get rid of any bubbles. And then when it comes to encapsulation and application, I like to make sure I'm working slightly wetter. So I pick up a medium size bead of acrylic, but I keep a lot of the monomer in my brush so it's all a little bit wetter. And then as you can see, I'm very gently manipulating it into place. I kind of allow the acrylic to flow without having to play around with it too much. So I'll place my bead of acrylic down, point the nail downwards, and then that acrylic is then going to flow downwards, and then just using really light feathery strokes, I'll guide it into place. You will see now and then I will need to come in with a second bead of acrylic. I tend to try not to do this if I want crystal clear application, but sometimes, especially when you're encapsulating chunky things like these stars, you need to come in with another bead of acrylic just to make sure that they're fully encapsulated. But my key for me anyway is to play with the acrylic less. The less you play with it, the less cloudy it looks and the less bubbles that you add into it. So when you have got to guide and manipulate it into place, I kind of like to do lots of light feathery strokes, light pats rather than heavy pats with your brush, just keeping everything quite delicate. And then I find I get nice crystal clear application. If you have any questions, I could maybe do a little bit more of an in-depth encapsulation video, maybe doing some glass tip nails, so then you can kind of see the clarity a lot better. Off camera, I did file and buff these nails, and we're now going to come in and do some stamping. But at the end of the video, I have left a clip and you will see how clear this acrylic looks once we apply our top coat. So do hang around and check that out. Now we're going to move on to stamping. So I'm using the Celestial plate from Miss Lucy UK. Again, I'll leave a link in the description box below to all the products I have used. I do also have a discount code for Miss Lucy, so do check that out as that gets you 10% off all of her products. So like I said, we're going to do some stamping. So I'm applying my stamping polish to my plate, generous amount, and then I like to scrape off the excess, give a quick flick of the wrist with my stamper, and then it picks up that image beautifully. I like to use a lint roller to remove any excess image from my stamper before I stamp my image down. Then we're going to give the plate a good clean and go in and repeat those steps. I do have a lot more in-depth stamping videos up on my channel, so I will leave the playlist linked at the end or in the cards if you guys would like to check that out, because I've got a lot more hints and tips. I tend to do more stamping on gel polish nails than acrylic, but I wanted to add this little star, kind of like shooting star, but I felt as though it replicated or worked well with the fireworks set. When you are doing your stamping, you need to make sure that you are working fairly quickly, as the stamping polish dries very, very quickly. It's highly pigmented, but it does dry quickly, so you do need to work fairly quickly to get a good stamp on. You'll see here I'm looking through my clear jelly stamper, lining that stamped image up, and then I just do press down, a quick wiggle, lift off, and it stamps perfectly. So these nails are now finished. We're just going to come in and top coat, and to top coat today I'm using my Kiki London top coat. I love this top coat for over stamping. It just goes over stamping absolutely beautifully. So we're going to come in and apply a thin coat of this to all of the nails. Now this particular top coat from Kiki London does require you to wipe off the tacky layer. They do also have a no wipe top coat, but this is just my favorite one to go over stamping. I did wipe off the tacky layer off camera though, so just bear that in mind if you pick up this one. I do highly recommend all of the Kiki London top coats. I have their rubber top coat, their no wipe top coat, their matte top coat, and they are all some of my absolute go-to top coats, even when I'm working over acrylics rather than gel polish. Once I have finished applying my top coat, I'm going to pop these in my LED lamp to cure for 30 seconds, and that is the end of the design. So this is where you can really see how crystal clear the Diamond Nail Supplies Clarity acrylic is. There are no bubbles, no cloudiness. You can see that glitter as if it's on the surface of the nail. I absolutely love this acrylic. I do also have a discount code for Diamond Nail Supplies, so again, do check the description box for all the products and any codes I do have. I want to say a big thank you to all of you who have watched the video. If you did enjoy it, please do give it a thumbs up or leave me a comment below, and I shall hopefully see you all again in the next one. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Lots of love. Take care. Bye bye.